What's going on, y'all? In this video, we is gonna break down Baphomet in its entirety with some help from Brother Panic. If you know, you know. This is Brother Panic's first book, The Origins of Occult Civilizations, Volume 1. Shout out Brother Panic, rest in power Brother Panic. Rest in power Brother Panic, an occult teacher from the early 2000s, alongside Bobby Hemmett and many others in the Black community that helped bring this spiritual and occult and historical information to the masses. He died a few years ago. I met him a few months before his death at his last lecture. Got to meet him, got to hang out with him at the Muhammad Ali Museum in Louisville, Kentucky. He took my number. He said, "I'm going to have you on my podcast. You sound like you got some great ideas. You know what you're talking about." And that was a slight moment of completion in my life, a certain milestone. So much of my dedication and thoroughness with this content, with my information, with my study, my patience with this game of life, and just giving y'all the best and most concise life advice. It came from a certain goal to one day do lectures with Brother Panic. For him to one day be like, "Yeah, nigga, you can be the one caught lecturing. You can be the one saying this shit to the people." And, you know, modern day, I've had to kind of initiate myself because he did pass away. I did get to meet him, shake his hand, fucking had lunch with him. And it's like, goddamn, it really felt like symbolically that was a passing of the torch. I kind of knew it and felt it the moment that he died, and somebody DM'd me and told me, and it was like, goddamn, I really met him and he passed some months later. It was almost like spiritually something in him said, yeah, I can exit this life shit. The occult information is in somebody else's hands. Who those hands is, I don't know. Maybe I met him, maybe I didn't. Maybe it was that kid Angelo who was walking around with me and his girl in the museum. Maybe it was him. But goddamn, y'all, the shit gets deep. The shit gets deep. So let's start with a page in his book where he breaks down Baphomet and the 5-pointed star just a little bit. So let's get it. Oh, before y'all that are curious, these notes actually come from the full Brother Panic lecture. As you can see, the notes the full Brother Panic Baphomet for Dummies lecture. As you can see, the notes a bit is a little bit crusty up top. I done had this shit for a minute. I've been studying and holding on to this information for a long time, but I took full notes on that lecture. The first time I've watched it, I've since spent 100 hours watching and invoking the information. All right, boom. This symbol is you in full power, not just as an enlightened man, but the redeemed fallen one. The redeemed fallen one is a spiritual concept, y'all. It's a spiritual concept. Essentially, you are the soul, the light, fallen from heaven. Fallen from heaven. Like the interpretations in the Bible of heaven and hell are just that, interpretations. But where it becomes a symbolic religion and culture is when you step into Christianity, Catholicism, Muslimhood, and then you get different ideas of God. You get a certain personification of that divine creator, of that divine source, and whatever realm of heaven, whatever afterlife. But that realm of heaven is really just the spirit. It's the unseen. It's what we come from or what we are going and returning back to. So this understanding of Baphomet, you are the redeemed fallen one. You understand that you are fallen. You are a soul in the human experience right now. God damn. I'm thinking of the bro, Elliot Hoss. Uncle E, bro, you're not fallen. You're not in your fallen nature. You're not no degraded, degenerate man from no standards of society. Why do you do that to yourself? I'm thinking of Elliot Hoss right now, y'all. This dude, my dude, he's one of my top 6 YouTubers of all time, along with Brother Panic. Elliot Hoss is always talking about how we're fallen. We're in a fallen state in America. Men are fallen from our sin, from our laziness, from our habits. No, that is shame. That is guilt. That is religious programming that has been put on you, Elliot Hoss, and all of y'all other men that fall for that. You're falling for some shame, for some religious condemnation over you and your life and your situation. That is what Jesus gets you. That is what the Bible gets you. That's what religion gets you. Feeling those desperate despair emotions because of your life. All right, let's read a little further. In this case, you're pulling light to you when the point is downward. Notice on the symbolic goat, the 5 points are all in the head as opposed to the body, which is symbolic of all points coming back to the one. The body is under psychic control and psychic consciousness is now housed in the head. So first and foremost, y'all, let's just flash the symbol right here. Let's just flash the symbol right here. You see the 5-pointed star. You see how it's facing the bottom. You see it, right? First off, the symbols around it are Hebrew symbols. Yad, He, Vad, He. Man understanding that He is God. Man understanding that He is God in the human flesh. All right? Yad, He, Vad, He. Oh, and guess what? Yad, He, Vad, He is right here on the kid's wrist. If you can see, it actually kind of goes right there. Yad, He, Vad, He. With a crown up at the top, symbolizing the crown. At the same time, it's an E, symbolizing eternal life, as above, so below. The cross, for those of y'all that think I'm some godless heathen, the cross is there, as is the Antichrist cross. This is the Baphomet balance. I am Young CT. I'm here to free your mind. You know what the fuck is going on. You know what time. But again, the circle, the star, symbolized as a upside down star, but the house in the middle, don't you see it symbolizes and represents a house? This pentagram in the middle represents a house, or the Pentagon in motherfucking the government is all symbolically representing and fucking with you on this shit that you don't know. This symbol that they get you to be afraid of, this motherfucking symbol that they got you ignoring, that they got you not motherfucking considering the truth of, that they got you not tapping into. You think it's some devil worship. What the fuck does that even mean? Nigga, the only thing that's devil worship is killing, is fucking with other people, is assault. And that's what the fucking cops do to you in your reality all day long. That's the only fucking devil worship here. And that devil is the ego. That Satan is the ego. That is your lower self. You are identifying and allowing this government and this system and all of the control and the pedophilic white men on this planet to fucking control your life and control your reality. That is the only devil that's going on here. First off, Napoleon Hill, who wrote Think and Grow Rich, also wrote what? Outwitting the devil. And what is the devil in that motherfucking book? Fear. Fear. You fear this, do you not? Some of y'all is courageous and know the truth and you walk in power and represent and understand this. But to those of y'all that been hating and getting that Baphomet in the comments, oh yeah, meant to start the video off with this. Y'all, this life is filled with haters. Haters gonna hate, losers gonna lose, and winners gonna win. So you choose what the fuck side you gonna get in. And this is just a symbol. This is not nothing to worship. This is not nothing to bow down to. Unlike your cross, unlike your church, unlike your Quran, unlike your motherfucking Jewish text that you bowing down to, that you afraid of God. The God that you worshiping is telling you to fear him. So you choose. Jesus is a fucking story in the Bible. Jesus is a fucking mythology. And the true story and symbol of all of that biblical text, when you truly interpretate it, is really about Jesus being an anarchist. The two differences of people in this world is anarchist and statist. People who believe in the state, people who believe in government control, and people who absolutely want that shit to be abolished, aka the abolishment of slavery. Harriet Tubman shit. So don't be fucking telling me about Jesus when you don't even know that the real story of Jesus is an antichrist or an anarchist. And the Antichrist is, of course, the fake symbolic picture of the devil, which they then get you polarized. So then you polarized against Christ versus the devil. And then you always tugging back and forth. Somebody can easily trigger your emotions. You, for one, just ignorant because you must know that the Christ and the devil and Satan is one. It is us. There is no image of Satan or the devil in the Bible. This image was just created, and then they took it and made it to be something devilish, something demonic, something for you to be scared of, something for you to be afraid of. Like I mentioned earlier, or I don't even know if I mentioned yet, but goddamn, I know one of the main things that a lot of y'all is not fucking with about this symbol is that term androgyny. y'all saying that I'm seeking truth, but I'm fucking with some symbol with a goat head and tits. Bro, you just scared of it. Bro, you just don't understand what it means. Or you just not invoking the power. Or you just not in tune with your feminine nature. But that's okay, because we about to get deep down into it in this video. So, wanted to refer to the Kabbalion, the law of gender. If you know, you know. This is the 7th Hermetic principle. This is actually the one that I talk about the least. So, yeah, let's get into it real quick. Gender isn't everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. The great 7th Hermetic principle, the principle of gender, embodies the truth that there is gender manifested in everything, that the masculine and feminine principles are ever present and active in all phases of phenomena on each and every plane of life. At this point, we think it well to call your attention to the fact that gender in its Hermetic sense and sex in the ordinary accepted use of the term are not the same. The word gender is derived from the Latin root meaning to beget, to procreate, to generate, to create, to produce. A moment's consideration will show you that the word has a much broader and general meaning than the term sex. Sex is the merger of genders, but the action of the merger of genders. But you are just separated as a soul, randomly, magically, chaotically born into the human body. Shit that we cannot explain or describe. But you may think that God and Jesus is your father and that they is the ones that's responsible for you and your life and your salvation. But no, the shit is magic. The shit is crazy. The shit, all we know is that we are the divine spark of consciousness, the mystery, the divine mystery, the divine awareness inside of the human body. But you split into male or female, a pussy or a dick. You split. That's it. And then you, of course, have your tendencies, your traits, your XY versus XX chromosome. Men and women have a different type of description, different traits, different ways that we move about in this society. But this is nature. This shit is the same with the animal kingdom. It's a 50-50 split. That's why the gender war is the main thing that is causing this planet to be under mass chaos and confusion. The gender war, that's the one real singular 50-50 black and white split on this planet. All of the mental psyops is really just some real crazy convoluted shit for you to fall into. But the second that a female hates a man and a man hates a woman because of shit that they just getting programmed with by society and the media, music, whatever, other people, social media, your friends, family, college campuses, motherfuckers going and debating. Debates get you nowhere but more polarized on one side of the fence. That's why this is occult lectures. That's why this is the motherfucking truth, that middle point understanding. And what is one thing that a lot of people demonize and don't understand is this right here. Let's just get the thumbnail quick and clear. A lot of people is ignoring this right the fuck here. You don't know the truth of it. Neither of these two things, the Kabbalion or Baphomet. But goddamn, it is simple. It's not complicated. This shit is a mixture, a symbol of balance, an integration of all polarities meeting in one. All right, we just getting started. The latest word of science is that the atom is composed of a multitude of corpuscles, electrons, or ions, revolving around each and are vibrating at a high degree of intensity. I know a lot of y'all fuck with science. I know a lot of y'all is into chemistry, the atoms, DNA, the helix, all of these little intricate things that science and chemistry and the discovery of life has given us as far as evolution goes. But y'all must understand that that's actually another one of the 5 religions, scientism. You got the cultural religions, Judaism, Hinduism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism. Shit, witchcraft can be thrown in there because this is the occult. The occult is not witchcraft. The occult may use witchcraft. The occult uses Christianity. The occult may use Baphomet. The occult may use and invoke and understand that Satan is a symbol of the ego. So we gonna gather up that satanic egoic force when needed. God damn, I can't believe I haven't mentioned this in about 20 videos, but y'all must get fucking in tune with your psychopath. You must get in tune with your psycho. you must get in tune with that killer inside of you, that motherfucking protector, that leader, that animal, that beast. You must have that shit in the chamber. As much as I talk about peace and the laws of morality and how we could really be free on this planet, I say that shit because that's the truth of the information. But that don't mean I care about that shit or really want it. Because this society and government and even police is actually kind of cool when you really take a full step back and understand it and see it all for what it is. It's really not that bad. But it's bad for people that's living in confusion and ignorance and is running around here fucked up, not knowing the truth about life, not knowing the truth about a symbol like this, not knowing the truth about government and police and military and how they is all just here motherfucking encroaching on your human rights in all ways, shapes, and forms. You are not free on this planet. Oh, and mind you, the prison system exists. But luckily, we ain't in that shit. Luckily, we ain't in jail. So we do got liberty. We is about 50% free on this planet. But other than that, nah, it ain't what you think it is. But that's that, because, yeah, this whole fucking life ain't what you think it is. It's really fucking crazy and backwards and chaotic and unnatural. So the society is kind of doubly unnatural because from this occult aspect, from this spiritual perspective, we're in the world of the backwards. We're in the world of the upside down right now. Skin, bodies, flesh, boundaries, motherfucking ego, labels, names, aggression, violence, animals. We gotta feed. This shit is a vampiric feeding ground called Earth. You might have been pacified with some religion, your culture, your school, but really when you look around, what do you see? How many people in your family argue? How many people in your family is crash outs? How many people do you follow, you went to school with, is going through some crazy shit, is posting all type of same repetitive shit about relationships, is sucked into violence and debate and culture and politics? At least if you own a religious journey, if you own a truth-seeking journey, you are above that. You are seeking things above all of this fleshly, physical division and conflict. Same old cycles repeated, looking a little bit new. At least if you seeking some truth, you are above that shit. So pat yourself on the back for that. But when it comes to breaking free of your fear, when it comes to really accepting and getting down to the bottom of some shit, y'all, oh man, you see it's smiling. You see Baphomet is smiling. And what does he or she do who know the truth? You sit back and smile and cheese at the youngins that don't know what the fuck is going on in life. So he who knows the truth, she who knows the truth is going to have a little grin. I call it the Baphomet grin. So it's like, yeah, this whole game of life is right here. Let's continue to tap in. I want to get more somewhere in the Kabbalion where it talks about, all right, yeah, I was getting into the chemistry and the biology, the scientific, so let's tap in just a little bit more. But the accompanying statement is made that the formation of the atom is really due to the clustering of negative corpuscles around the positive one. The positive corpuscles seeming to exert a certain influence upon the negative corpuscles, causing the latter to assume certain combinations and thus create or generate an atom. This is in line with the most ancient Hermetic teachings, which have always identified the masculine principle of gender and the positive and the feminine with the positive. So masculine is associated with the positive and feminine is associated with the negative poles of electricity. Now, a word at this point regarding this identification. The public mind has formed an entirely erroneous impression regarding the qualities of the so-called negative pole of electrified magnetized matter. The terms positive and negative are very wrongly applied to this phenomenon by science. The word positive means something real and strong, as compared with negative unreality or weakness. Nothing is further from the real facts of the electrical phenomenon. All right, so let's break down right there for a minute. So I broke this down some months ago, y'all. Negative, what we call negative is really just unfavorable. It's really just what you don't want. Bad, negative, wrong is unfavorable, aka assault, sexual assault, thievery, trespassing, deception, the transgressions, the natural sins, the natural law, wrongdoings, the fucked up actions that I keep telling y'all that the police and military perform on this whole planet is essentially unfavorable, is essentially negative. And you know this is the truth because if you was in a group with 5 people And one person just stood up and said, hey, you got to pay me $5 every time you wake up if you want to stay around here. And if you don't want me to fucking hurt you, you got to pay me $5 and you got to not eat at this certain time because I'm the government. I'm in control. And then I got this guy right here who I pay $10 and he also going to help me fuck you up. So now it's 2 against 3. That 3 is going to listen to the 2. That's basically what we doing right here in modern day life. It's a handful of government and people in control. It's a huge, vast army of military and police, and then an even huge, vast sea of citizens and population on this planet. So I always revert back to that because that's the truth. I think I want to really subconsciously drill into y'all heads because you must know and be aware of that shit. When you see cops, when you see the military, when you see war, you must know that they all just mind-controlled citizens, or they're consciously just satanic and like their job. They actually like to go commit legal violence. Okay, so yeah, nothing is further from the truth, goddamn. Yeah, that negative and bad, basically unfavorable, things that you don't want. But they're going to break down further what that negative and positive really means. So let's understand it a little bit more. Nothing is further from the real facts of the electrical phenomena. The so-called negative pole of the battery is really the pole in and by which the generation or production of new forms and energies is manifested. The so-called negative pole of the battery is really the pole in which by the generation or production of new forms and energies is manifested. All right? There is nothing negative about it. Nothing unfavorable, nothing bad, nothing wrong about it. The best scientific authorities now use the word cathode in place of negative. The word cathode coming from the Greek root meaning descent, the path of generation. From the cathode pole emerged a swarm of electrons or corpuscles. From the same pole emerged those wonderful rays which have revolutionized science conceptions during the past decade. Y'all see, but it's breaking down from the smallest of smallest. Y'all know when it comes to these atoms, molecules, protons, electrons, it's a negative charge and it's a positive charge. The positive charge is just a masculine charge. Same thing with modern day life. The man is erect. The man nuts and ejaculates. The woman is the receptive. The woman is the portal. Negative energy is just a description. It's like, damn, just that term negative has been motherfucking obfuscated to mean something bad, just as this has been obfuscated to mean something bad. Think about that. Because what we call negative, like I said, is just unfavorable. I'm truly going to get to the Baphomet notes. We got about 5 pages of it, but I want to just clarify a little bit more. You see how it's all stemming from something very small with this law of gender, with this masculine and feminine. And that's really all we are in life as men and women. One is positive, one is strong, one is dominant, one is forceful, one is energetically giving, and one is receptive, one is passive. One takes the energy, takes the sperm, and creates a baby from that sperm, from that energy, and that's the woman. Quick break from the books. Let's talk about rap. Y'all know I'm a rapper. Y'all know I got songs out, videos out, got 3 songs coming out soon. It's one thing about this rap world, this whole industry, this whole shit, this whole motherfucking entity of rap music. It's all ego. It's all ego. It's all ego and spirit. It's not much soul. Sorry to say. It's a lot of spirit, but it's not much soul. This is the soul. This is the soul work. This is work for you in the human experience, in the flesh, in the body, to understand and know thyself. For one, you're mentally, we all got mental gender, right? Your right brain is feminine, it's compassionate, it's creative, it's empathetic. Then your left brain is logical, database, analytical. So even in your everyday life, your logical brain is acting upon your feminine brain. Your feminine could also be looked at as your subconscious in some instances, because what you have to debate and talk about and dissect in your left brain and your logical head is then jabbed into your feminine brain. Then it produces your action. It produces a new thought. It produces a new reality. So that's how we're constantly reality forming. Even the pituitary gland and pineal gland is another example of that masculine and feminine. The pituitary gland, the pituitary gland is similar to that of a vagina in its shape, and then the pineal gland is similar to that of a dick in its shape. So the two are just working and forming your imagination. Because again, you imagine and think things with your pineal gland. It creates the images in your eyes and your brain, and then that is sticking the pituitary gland, and that's your hormones, that's your feeling, that's your chemicals and your emotions and your chakras in your body. This whole rap culture is just to get you wrapped up into it. It's just to get you mind identified. It's just to get you lustful. It's just to get you aggressive. Rap is like rock and roll. Rap, hard rock music, the same way you as a young black nigga or a young black woman, you might look at rock music, you might not want to hear that shit. That's how people listen to rap music that don't listen to it. Because the shit really does get that monotonous. It really does get that old. Like, I love my own rap music and I love my favorite rappers, but I really don't listen to a lot of rappers modern day. And that shit really just started to sound so repetitive. For one, I think I'm better than a lot of these niggas. And for two, it's like, goddamn, y'all rapping about the same shit. Money, cars, clothes, hoes. Shout out Kendrick, shout out NBA Youngboy. Colorful music, shit that can take you all type of places. They are the two polar extremes. NBA Youngboy said, life of a G, I don't need you to pray for me. Kendrick Lamar said, ain't nobody praying for me. That's the two polarized scales. You choose. The student of the Hermetic philosophy may smile when he reads and hears of these many new theories regarding the duality of mind, each school adhering tenaciously to its own pet theories and each claiming to have discovered the truth. The student turns back the pages of occult history, and way back in the dim beginnings of occult teachings, he finds references to the ancient Hermetic doctrines of the principle of gender on the mental plane, the manifestation of mental gender. And examining further, he finds that the ancient philosophy took cognizance of the phenomenon of the dual mind and accounted for it by theory of mental gender. This idea of mental gender may be explained in a few words to a student who are familiar with the modern theories just alluded to. The masculine principle of mind corresponds to the so-called objective mind, conscious mind, voluntary mind, active mind, ego. And the feminine principle corresponds to the so-called subjective mind, involuntary mind, passive mind, feminine, subconscious. The Hermetic teachings impart their instructions regarding this subject by bidding their student to examine the report of their consciousness regarding their self. The students are bidden to turn their attention inward upon self-dwelling, shadow work. Each student is led to see that his consciousness gives him/her first a report of the existence of his/her self. The report is I am. Just like we mentioned in the book No Boundary, Psychological Integration. You start with that I am. Who are you? While at first there seems to be only an I existing, a more careful and closer examination reveals that there is an I and a me. These mental twins differ in their characteristics and nature, and an examination of their nature and the phenomena arising from the same will throw much light upon the many of the problems of mental influence. Let us begin with the consideration of the me, which is usually mistaken for the I by the student until he presses the inquiry a little further back into the recesses of consciousness. Me. When you identifying with me, you're mostly identifying with ego. When you're identifying with I, you're identifying with self, soul, awareness, consciousness. That's a huge distinction. That's a huge thing to break down and get to. So, yeah, that's simple. You know, you say it's mine. You say it's me. You identify with it, whether it's your clothes, a woman, your family, your kids, material objects, whatever it is. That me is the ego. I is self, is soul. And that's also how you affirm and manifest and you create new realities. I am strong. I am rich. I am smart. I am fast. I am great. I am graceful. I have great intuition. I am powerful. I am abundant. I am creative. I am vast. I want y'all to start doing these things on such a conscious level. Every day, it's a mental workout. It's a mental workout. Let's just be real. You continue in keeping the same thoughts. You continue in keeping identifying with the same things, the same personality traits, the same belief systems. It's all the same thing day after day, myself included. But it's a mental workout to start identifying with I am rich. Everything is good. It is working in my favor. I am right where I need to be. Everything is in alignment. Everything is going at my pace. I control my destiny. I control my life. I control my money, my finances. I am rich. I can save money. I can be powerful. I can be this. I can create this. I can make this song. I can make this video. It's gonna work. I can get these followers. I can manifest this girl. I can get this husband. I can get this type of friendship, this type of community, this type of job. I can be this type of manager. I can be this type of owner. Manifest that shit now. We always thinking about the other shit that's affecting us, all the other chaos, all the negative thoughts, all the other programming and thoughts from other people, all of the little fake scenarios that we envisioning and imagining in our head, when we are the absolute full creators, God of our reality. Like I said, some of y'all is truth seekers, not just manifestation junkies, not just material fiends. A lot of people out here is using this information and this spirituality and these concepts of the mind to manifest material, as am I. But when it comes to manifesting the truth, when it comes to tapping in, when it comes to spiritually elevating, you must understand it's all positive, negative, good, and bad with everything. So even everything that you attract, you're going to have to also become a new person and attract a different lifestyle. You're going to have to be up more. So to those of y'all that's living lazy, not working as much, not focused on money as much, you eating junk food, you smoking, you drinking, you having sex, you watching porn, niggas, stay tapped in and stay just relaxed and cool, because you must mentally stay tapped in at all times, no matter your circumstances, no matter how your environment looks, no matter how it looks on the outside, no matter. But fuck what other people say. Fuck what the movies and music and TV and other people on YouTube is saying about you and your life and what you need to be doing. Nigga, relax. Woman, relax. Enjoy your human experience. Sit back, tap in, be great. Mentally, we are both sides, bro. Like, the only thing about this society, they just try to, they really try to polarize you to a masculine extreme if you a man, or if you a woman, they're trying to polarize you to a feminine extreme of how to be, of how to move, of how to act, of how to think, of how to behave, of how to live your life. And that's all the fuck they doing. That's society. That's programming. That's culture. Like I've been sharing, this is that middle point. This is that balance, that synthesis between the two. And you are simply that, polarized on the physical scale of man versus woman. But mentally, you are both. Let's tap in some more. But we have proceeded too hastily. The meat of many men may be said to consist largely of their consciousness of the body and their physical appetites. Their consciousness being largely bound up with their bodily nature. They practically live there. You practically live in the ego. Some men even go far as to regard their personal appeal as a part of their meat and actually seem to consider it part of themselves. A writer has humorously said that men consist of three parts: soul, body, and clothes. These clothes-conscious people will lose their personality if divested of their clothing by savages upon the occasion of shipwreck. God damn. Nigga, if somebody stripped you out that designer, your ass wouldn't know what to do. But even many who are not so closely bound up with the idea of personal raiment stick closely to the consciousness of their body being me. They cannot conceive of a self independent of the body. Their mind seems to them to be practically a something belonging to their body, which in many cases it is indeed. Because you identify with it, you create it to be that. Now, I know a lot of y'all is conscious, and I know y'all is very aware, but just remember, y'all, it's a 33% split. Mind, soul, and body. So identify with all. That's actually a part of me that I lack and sometimes neglect. Identifying with my mind, my body, and the soul as a 33% split. Because oftentimes y'all see how much I say, you are a soul having a human experience. This person is a soul having a human experience. You are a soul. You are awareness. You are the consciousness. You are the divine spark. You are the light inside of the body, in control of the human body, of the vessel. So like, that's me. That's where I be coming from, because I'm really a spiritualist. I'm really fucking detached from this human life. I really motherfucking be drifting and coasting along. Not drifting in the sense of outwitting the devil drifting. No, I got ultimate focus. But drifting as far as just I'm in the present moment, nigga. I'm in the soul. I'm a human motherfucking being, and the soul having a human experience, bro. This shit is cosmic. This game is astral. This shit is energetic. This shit is spiritual. But sometimes I neglect even how I present myself, how I come off, how other people perceive me. And then I be forgetting, oh, damn, I did study this and do this, and I do be working out this much and reading this, and I am pretty extreme on this end, and I do. Then I forget that people perceive me as something different than what I perceive myself as. So that's why all that shadow work is important. That's why it's so good to tap the fuck in. But I know y'all be mentally up here in the realm, but you may just be mind identified, and that's ego identification. Your mind identification may be like a 60% chunk. Your soul and body identification may be 20 and 20. My shit is pretty even. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like 40% soul, mind, and body. But my shit's pretty even. I promise you this. But I identify and resonate a lot more with the soul experience, and I probably will for a long time because, a sprinkle of hope. Nigga, I've heard that once the body is about to get devastated and destroyed, say you about to die, get shot, get bombed, get your shit pulled apart by 2 tractors, you as a soul leap out of the body and don't feel that shit. Goodbye. All right. But we have proceeded too hastily. Yes, we already proceeded hastily. This is what I do. I proceed hastily and tastily. Fresh. But as man rises in the scale of consciousness, he is able to disentangle his me from his idea of body and is able to think of his body as belonging to the mental part of him. But even then, he is very apt to identify the me entirely with the mental states, feeling, etc., which he feels to exist within him. He is very apt to consider these internal states as identical with himself instead of there being simply things produced by some part of his mentality and existing within him, of him, and in him, but still not himself. And yet the same me exists. And so after a while, he is able to set aside these various mental states, emotions, feelings, habits, qualities, characteristics, and other personal mental belongings. He is able to set them aside in the not me collection of curiosities and encumbrances, as well as of valuable possessions. This requires much mental concentration and power of mental analysis on the part of the student. But still, the task is possible for the advanced student, and even those not so far advanced are able to see in the imagination how the process may be performed. It's all mental, it's all your imagination. You got these thoughts, these moods, these feelings. You feeling anger, you feeling joy, you feeling sadness. You got to identify and know, whoa, that's over there. These are just thoughts. I am back here. I am a soul inside of the body. All of that shit that's out there to identify with, all of these concepts, all of these labels, that's just there. I can choose to identify and manifest and bring it closer to me. I can choose to become it. I can choose to be happy. I can choose to be motherfucking mad. I can choose to be motherfucking sad. I can choose to be joyful. I can choose to be horny. I can choose to be whatever the fuck. But god damn, it is all life. It is all the body. And then you start to just identify with the mind. So truly, this book kind of promotes you to be in that soul perspective. In that soul polarity, polarized on the soul perspective. And I do that. That is what I'm about. This is about integration. A lot of people is probably somewhat more, possibly not though, because if you don't know this shit, then maybe motherfuckers ain't as integrated with mind, body, spirit, soul as this depicts, but also that masculine and feminine has to be deeply integrated. But this shit right here is really about not polarizing on no end. It is the exact middle point. The meditation, the medium, the mediate, the medicine, the middle point, the balance, the synthesis, the integration of all polarities. Masculine, feminine, up, down, high, low, evil, objective, subjective. Y'all see it, y'all get it. This is not a religion. This is not nothing to worship. This is a symbol of balance. But this book, The Kabbalion, as I see and read now, it kind of does polarize you in the state of soul You're mentally experiencing this shit. You're the observer, the witness of all of this human shit. But it's more so a lot of tools, tricks, and tactics to get you to that point. After this laying aside process has been performed, the student will find himself in conscious possession of a self, which may be considered in its I and me dual aspects. Oh, it gets complicated. The me will be felt to be something mental in which thoughts, ideas, emotions, feelings, and other mental states may be produced. It may be considered as the mental womb, as the ancients styled it, capable of generating mental offsprings. It reports to the consciousness as a me, with latent powers of creation and generation of mental progeny of all sorts and kinds. That's basically just us mentally creating our world. Progeny, got that word from Andrew Tate, said men need progeny. He's a fucking pronatalist. He's a human ass nigga. Andrew Tate will get your ass wrapped up in the cult of humanity. And that's what this shit be coming down to. The cult of fucking humanity. Even Mark Passio will get your ass wrapped up in the cult of humanity, even though he's an occult teacher. But all of the laws of morality and freedom, and once you deeply understand it, it kind of becomes like the only thing you can say and the only thing you see is slave-minded people participating in a slave-programmed mind control system, cops and military keeping the slave mind control program system and matrix all together, and politicians and presidents getting on TV lying and mind controlling their citizens and getting them to cheer for them. It's kind of all you see once you start tapping in with Mark Passio and break down the laws of morality, no right versus wrong, aka fucked up versus cool action. Yeah, it get like that. Why the fuck did I just even say that? I don't even know. But yeah, you gonna disagree with things. I disagree with certain things in this book. I disagree with certain things Mark Passio say and his ideas and philosophies. I very much agree with a lot of things that Brother Panic said because our birthdays was 2 days apart. When I realized that, I fully realized this was my conscious and soul mission. I fully realized it. I disagree with things that he say, certain perspectives. I know that I've pushed a little bit further in the human frequency than Brother Panic did as far as how much I care to share this information of natural law and love and truth. But he was tapping in way more on spirituality, way more with rituals, way more with meditation, way more with spiritually raising up the energy, more subconscious programming. And that's all to be done if you fucking with me. Brother Panic lived till 54. I'm 26. I got half of his life left at the very least. Let's get it. All right. But yeah, a lot of tapping in, a lot of rituals, a lot of subconscious programming, a lot of shit like that. But I told y'all before, I've been dealing with the zero chakra. As far as my channel goes for the past 6 years, I've been dealing with the zero chakra, not even the root chakra, not even chakra number 1 just yet. So we've been dealing with the root chakra. I mean, the zero chakra is very intense. It's laying out the bases in the game. It is life, the definitions, the truth. But as we build up, get ready to tap in. CTRL. Continuous truth realization. These aspects of mind and masculine and feminine principles, the I and the me, considered in connection with the well-known mental and psychic phenomena, give the master key to these dimly known regions of mental operations and manifestations. The principle of mental gender gives the truth underlying the whole field of phenomena of mental influence. The tendency of the feminine principle is always in the direction of receiving impressions, while the tendency of the masculine principle is always in the direction of giving out, expressing. The feminine principle has a much more varied field of operation than has the masculine principle. The feminine principle conducts the works of generating new thoughts, concepts, ideas, including the work of the imagination. The masculine principle contents itself with the work of the will in its varied aspects, and yet without the active aid of the will of the masculine principle, the feminine principle is apt to rest content with generating mental images, which are the result of repression of impressions received from the outside instead of producing original mental creations. Now that's clearly seen modern day in life. Women will just go and be what they're programmed to be and influenced by society and the men around them until another man comes in their life and programs them differently and leads them differently. Or if they use more willpower to create and become different from all the other women that's just programmed to do and be what women is said to do and be in this world. But for women, it takes more mental willpower and energy and logic to become and do things differently and create a different life. And for men, it takes more feminine energy and force and focus and tapping in to create and be in tune with your emotions and do the shadow work, because it's not our innate way of being. A man's innate way of being is the dominant, and a man's innate way of being is identifying with the logical, analytical database mind. A woman's innate way of being is more natural, more feminine, more cyclical, more in tune with the cycles of life, more in tune with other people's emotions. Babies, kids, dogs, the motherfucking suffering on this planet. Men's will is to just go. It's to look past the suffering. It's to look past the bad. And y'all see and know that I've been training up y'all to be in tune with both sides of yourself throughout all of my content. Now we just tapping in and seeing more of the separation and the distinction. But unfortunately, the masculine principle in the average person is too lazy to act. The display of willpower is too slight. The consequence is that such persons are ruled almost entirely by the minds and wills of other persons, whom they allow to do their thinking and willing for them. How very few original thoughts or original actions are performed by the average person. Are not the majority of persons mere shadows and echoes of others having stronger wills or minds than themselves? The trouble is the average person dwells almost altogether in his me consciousness and does not realize that he has a such thing as an I. He is polarized in his feminine principle of mind, and the masculine principle, in which is lodged in the will, is allowed to remain inactive and not employed. So that's basically saying that if you don't identify with the I, the self, the soul, you're lacking in your creation of your own reality. If you're always identifying with me, you don't even know who you are, because the me that you're identifying with, was just created from this outside world around you, rather than you creating and forming and thinking your own thoughts, willing yourself to think and create your own thoughts. The strong men and women of the world invariably manifest the masculine principle of will, and their strength depends materially upon this fact. Instead of living upon the impressions made upon their minds by others, they dominate their own minds by their will, obtaining the kind of mental images desired, and moreover dominate the minds of others. Likewise, in the same manner, look at the strong people, how they manage to implant their seed thoughts in the minds of the masses of people. This is why the masses of people are such sheep-like creatures, never originating an idea of their own, nor using their own powers of mental activity. The manifestation of mental gender may be noticed all around us in everyday life. The magnetic persons are those who are able to use their masculine principle in the way of impressing their ideas upon others. The actor who makes people weep or cry as he wills is employing this principle, and so is the successful orator, statesman, preacher, writer, or other people who are before the public attention. The peculiar influence exerted by some people over others is due to the manifestation of mental gender along the vibrational lines. This is for you. This is your consciousness. This is your life. I share the information. I care to share the information. It's on my heart and on my soul to give and share this amount of truth with the world. To also tap in myself, I also benefit from recording and sharing and speaking and practicing. But I want y'all to benefit and really learn and share and change and transform your mind. But man, oh man, get to the money too. Get to the cash. Because this whole game of life, you may spend your time arguing, you may spend your time debating, going back and forth, fighting, trying to find further truth, as I have in certain instances, all just to lead me right back here to literally this book and Baphomet, as I seek so much other truth and perspectives and thoughts and interviews and podcasts. You realize that focus on your money, focus on your body, focus on your emotional intelligence, and life will be extremely good. It's a lot of fear tactics, a lot of manipulation, a lot of psyops, a lot of things to distract you from your reality creation. And that's simply it, distracting you from your reality creation. But like I said, lucky y'all and lucky me, part of my goal and my journey is to share this information, is to share what I see, is to break down and demystify the shit that's going on in life. But modern day, I may just look at something on the news, listen to some music, scroll on social media, get inspired real quick and make a video. So shout out Tony Robbins. He dropped this gem and I'm gonna share it with y'all too. Once you have enough pattern recognition, once you see enough of life, once you see this game, you see the cycles, you learn enough, then you become the pattern initiator. you create the patterns. So that's what I'm in my zone and phase of life of doing. But I want y'all to continue to study if you feel that you're not as studied and intellectual and memorized as you need to be or as you want to be. But I also want to make sure I tell and share with y'all that get the money, study, but don't be so quick to share these truths with other people. I went in on the law of polarity before, but that's basically goes to show you can't change nobody's mind. It's always going to be an opposite pole, an end to argue, a side to debate. So you tap in with this knowledge and information. Don't be expecting other people too much to care if it ain't involving no cash or no instant gratification. But the knowledge, the alchemy, the spiritual tapping in, the spiritual truths, however it benefits you. The masses is not going to tap in or even really know about this shit because it's a lot of shadow work involved. It's a lot of internal work involved to make the shit work for you, to be able to speak it, to be able to see it, to be able to interpret it. So I've done that work, and I'm going to make sure I share the perspective and the truth with y'all as I sit on top of the mountain as a young goat in this shit. And if y'all trying to climb the mountain, or if you going to get to the top of the mountain but not share the information, don't feel bad. Also, just know it is one of the greatest cosmic currencies to share the information. Because, yeah, this world is under governmental slavery, and a lot of people are in harm and suffering and depression and under anxiety because they don't know the truth about this world. So if you share the truth about this world, you'll get a lot of relief, a lot of mental and spiritual ease and lightness. The part of the masculine principle seems to be that of directing certain inherent energy toward the feminine principle and thus starting into activity the creative process. But the feminine is the one always doing the active creative work. I mentioned that before, but that's just something for you to know and understand about your own mind. Can you not see that the phenomena is on all fours, which that of the corpuscles or electrons? And more than this, can you not see the reasonableness of the Hermetic teachings, which assert that the law of gravitation, the strange attraction by reason of which all particles and bodies of matter in the universe tend toward each other, is but another manifestation of the principle of gender, which operates in the direction of attracting the masculine and feminine energies, or vice versa? We cannot offer you scientific proof of this at this time, but examine the phenomena in the light of the Hermetic teachings on the subject and see if you have not better working hypothesis than any offered by physical science. Submit all physical phenomena to the test, and you will discern the principle of gender ever in evidence. All right, man. Like I said, I'm gonna leave this as a solo video. I might just chill and talk to y'all till my phone die. But, you know, that term androgyny, that's what a lot of y'all got a slight problem with, and I get it. You've just been programmed that way. For one, yeah, transgenders are a little creepy. So I get it. They are basically androgynous. But even a woman that acts with masculine figures, and you may be attracted to her masculine figures, if a woman work out, if a woman got a very logical, independent type of vibe, she very dominant, she invoking some androgyny. If a man, like, nigga, Playboy Cardi, Young Thug, Lil Uzi Vert, these niggas got feminine tendencies. They just tapped in with their Baphomet nature. So it's like, to display that shit to the whole world, porn stars, of course, is very tapped in with their Baphomet nature. So it is one of them levels of deeply understanding self. It's one of them levels of deeply, quote unquote, being yourself. But in the game of manipulation and in the game of power, you don't want to always be yourself. You want to tune your frequency. You want to know how to adjust yourself. You want to know how to tune back your ego, pull up your masculine and feminine dominance at certain times. And then you gotta appear in a way that motherfuckers won't even know you got feminine tendencies. Motherfuckers won't even know that you got flash and flare and dance and sauce and you in tune with your sexuality. If you a straight man, if you a gay man, I don't really have much advice for you. Other than be strong and don't let nobody tell you what to do and how to live your life. But for straight men, it's like a lot of gray area in how you are expected to behave on this planet. So, of course, if you got money, then everything is good. Money is the great elixir. So with money, you can act and really be a lot of ways that you want. But when it comes to just your voice, you know, whether you're going to speak in a strong, dominant voice or you're going to have a high-pitched voice and talk in a way that's like, goddamn, why you do that, girl? Why you acting like that? Why you talking to me like that? Why you acting like that? or you gonna talk with some motherfucking stoicism and some bass in your voice and demand the motherfucking energy and presence that you want to create in the room? And people is gonna respond to that same energy and presence. But people hear that light voice and they definitely see that as somebody that's weak. They see you as a lick. So you just want to be strong. You really got to guide and yield and use your feminine energy. Even to the women. Feminism got y'all in a cult mindset with other women thinking that being a strong ass dominant woman that don't need a man or just talk down on men, you think that that shit is attractive. But every man that is masculine and willing to provide for you or give you some money or date you or even have a kid with you, he see that shit and say, nah, unpleasant, unfavorable, negative, not what I want. Then he gonna go to the woman that's quiet, secure, not saying negative shit about men, that seems to have a certain other curiosity about life, or she just focused on her business, focused on her mind, focused on her body. So, you know, it really is a game of manipulation when it comes to when and where and how you let out your opposite gender tendency. If you're a man, when you let out that feminine energy and quality, it's a lot of times that shit may not work in your best favor. If you're a woman, when you let out that masculine, dominant, logical quality, that shit may not work in your best favor. So, y'all know, refer to the 48 Laws of Power. Got a video on my channel where I go over the first 10 laws of that. Did that on a Monday morning, just like right now. But this shit is extremely important. Again, I think I'm just talking to my phone dial or go a little bit further. But the androgyny is just a mixture and blend of the genders. It's good for your creation. It's definitely good for your spiritual knowledge, but it's good for your creation as well. Your creation as in the aspect of your art, your music, your dancing, your culinary skills, your communication skills, your shadow work, and your emotional intelligence. This understanding is good for everything because with intimate relationships and family and your kids and people that you dealing with on a very close level and you want to keep by your side and keep with you, them is the people that you're going to want to communicate with and let know the real you. Let all of your guards down and be fully vulnerable with. To my men, not necessarily your women, don't let them see you cry. Like I mentioned before, you don't want that shit to happen. But you do want to communicate. You do want to let them know how you feeling. You do want to let them know what you want, what you expect, how you want to live, how much peace you want. You do just want to firmly plant and stake your boundaries in relationships. It's a lot. It's a lot of balance. But like I said before, there is no perfect level of shadow work. It's just building wealth. It's infinite amounts of shadow work to do. It's infinite amount of internal work to do. It's infinite amount of balancing and meditating and mediating and getting to that middle point within yourself. You got to find it within yourself for your game. Because obviously, if you want millions of dollars, you're going to have to use a lot of mental will. But if you just want a wife and kids and a calm, cool, collected life, it's going to be a lot more balance involved for other people to like you. Because what happens is we're actually kind of competing with people on the sexual market level, aka the sexual market value and the financial value. Basically, people under $100,000 a year is all in a chunk competing. People making $5 million to $10 million a year all be in a chunk competing. So y'all know this shit, y'all see this shit, but you gotta balance. You gotta be diplomatic. You gotta really tune in with your physical, your mental, your masculine and your feminine side of yourself when you in this world. Of course, part of your feminine nature and being super tapped in with it is not taking offense to a lot of things, not being triggered by a lot of things. But that's actually kind of a stoic masculine principle, but it's feminine because you're not ready to just attack. You're not ready to just defend and bark out and motherfucking have to talk your shit. You always got to stand up for yourself. You end up getting into fights, arguments, conflict with your parents, conflict with your coworkers, conflict with your boyfriend, girlfriend. Like that shit is ego. That shit is persona identification. To stay in that Baphomet middle point balance, you got to do the work internally and see everybody else that has not done that work. And then don't get motherfucking sad and mad and angry at the shit that they say to you. You don't get mad at a little kid that come up to you and say some crazy shit. So why get mad at an adult that come up to you and say some crazy shit? It's because that shit is triggering you and you feeling something internally and it's really fucking with your identity. So you really got to do that work. You really got to do that work. You really got to do that work. But need I say more about this masculine and feminine thing? Like I said, LGBTQs play a huge role in this society because they really just be themselves. They really are polarized on that scale of just pure sexual expression. So like I said before, if we're not telling them how to be a certain way in this world, why are we telling a straight man or woman what to be or how to be in this world? It's because of society, tradition, and procreation. It's the idea of procreation and having kids and raising some strong society and doing what you're told to do by society and your family. So they try to make men a certain way of masculine, logical, but it's just the way to fit in with modern times and to be a father and to raise and be a strong, masculine, good economic person in the society. Same thing with women. They just want you to be a strong, motherly, loving, caring type woman. So that's what this culture is really here to polarize you to be. Polarize you on scales of masculine and feminine. But the LGBTQs really draw and paint outside of all of them lines and really just put the truth all in our face about how that shit is just not real. I'm gonna end the video off right here if my phone don't die, but this shit is an alien realm. Life on Earth is an absolute alien realm. None of this shit is logical. None of this shit is real. None of this shit makes any sense. It's all just programming and chaos. You meet somebody different, everybody got a different voice, everybody got a different face, everybody acts different, everybody got different programming, everybody got a whole different everything. Everything is fucking different everywhere you go on this planet. Animals, oh my God, don't get me started on animals. They're the real aliens, but humans themselves is aliens. We all aliens. This shit is the alien realm of mystery and craziness and trickery and weirdness and differentness and uniqueness. Fantasy, imagination, just being pulled down from the astral realm, being pulled down from that imaginary realm. And you over here worried about being a masculine man or a feminine woman. Man, you better be whoever the fuck you want to be. You better integrate. You better be strong, dominant, and powerful in your uniqueness, in your differentness. That's it, man. That's absolutely it. Don't be afraid of a fucking word. Don't be afraid of the word androgynous. You are an androgynous soul inside of the human body. Know that. Your brain is androgynous. You have a masculine side and a feminine side. So that word androgyny is not to be feared. Transgenders just take that shit to an extreme degree. But really, it's not even about, it's not about being bisexual. It has very little to do with sexuality in general. But it is about being bi-mental, though. Something I meant to mention, though. It is about being bi-mental. And that's basically being able to see both sides. That's basically being able to see two sides of something. Two sides of something. You can look at it from both perspectives. You can filter it through a feminine lens and how would a female, how would a woman, how would someone not as strong and masculine as you, or someone without the same life experiences as you, interpret this information, this thing. Then you got to be able to filter it through a man's interpretation, through a logical, dominance, strong, systematic way of how something should go. And that's being bi-mental. Y'all motherfuckers is monocular. But you need to put on your binoculars. See things from both sides. See things as it is. And you got the option to do that. So just tap in. Don't be afraid of words like Satan, Baphomet, demon, devil, vampire. Don't let other people put fear in your mind about this life. We're all androgynous souls, masculine and feminine, in the human body, polarized on the scale of woman and man. That's it. That's it. That's it. I love y'all. Stay godlike.